Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, everybody. I'm still sleepy. I am going to give you guys maybe like 90 seconds to come in the room. Um, this is something that's been on my heart for a while to share, and now is the time for me to finally share it. So I hope you guys grab something from this. I hope you guys learn something from this. A little bit of a disclaimer. If anything that I say or any of the situations or people that I discuss in this video offends you, this video may not be for you. This video is for whoever it is for. So I just want to get that disclaimer out there. And I'm going to wait probably about 60 more seconds for other people to come into the room. Hi guys, I see somebody's on here. I don't know who it is, but I wanted to share this with you guys before I went to work, and I thought that it was important for me to come on camera in my vulnerable state, no makeup. I'm not dressed up. I'm still drinking my coffee. So I just wanted to be real with y'all. I wanted to have a heart to heart and just share my story of survival during that time period in my life. So I'm just going to give a few more people a few more seconds to come in the room. Hey, Monty, how you doing? I'm trying to wave to y'all. I can't even do it. Okay, I got it. And yes, I'm having my coffee because I need my coffee. Thank God it's Friday because I'm tired. This week just seemed like it went fast, but it was like a really rough week. It's crazy. Okay, I'll just give a few more seconds. I hope y'all having a good day today. And I hope that y'all are happy about the weekend because I know I am. I'm happy because I want to create some more stuff this weekend. Trying to sort these clothes and all that stuff. So yeah, somebody just can't. I don't know who. Oh, okay. It's the other Monty. Oh, both Monties online. Hi, y'all. Hi, y'all. Hey, hey, hey. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started because I don't have a lot of time, and I want to speak. I want to hit all the points, and I want to be able to encourage y'all today. So when let's backtrack a little bit. Before I moved to California, I was supposed to be entering high school. I was going to Ladue Junior High at the time. I had did all the paperwork. I had the classes, set that I was supposed to be in. I even went to the school to see exactly what, hey, hi guys. I even went to the school to see exactly what classes, teachers, everything. So it was not my plan to go and move to California. It was my mother's plan. My brother, he was living out west at the time, and she thought it would be a good idea for us to leave St. Louis, Missouri. Of course, she was tired of going through whatever it was she was going through at the time, and she wanted a change, and she wanted something different. So, at first I was very upset because I'm just like, okay, I just got all my stuff ready for school. I just got everything organized. I know what classes I'm going to. And of course, I was going to miss family and friends. So I didn't want to move. But you know how teenagers are, their minds move real fast. So it kind of dawned on me like, oh, you're going to a new place. You're about to go to California. It's going to be fun. You're going to meet a lot of new people. You're going to make a lot of new friends. So we ended up going. We took a Greyhound. I think it took like 7 or so days for us to get there. I can't even remember. I don't know. I was young, so I don't remember. But it took us quite a while. The Greyhound takes some time. So when we first got to, we took the Greyhound and we went to Las Vegas because that's where my brother was living at the time. and he was commuting back and forth to Sacramento, California, and Oakland, California. My brother grew up in Oakland, California. He used to stay next door to Too Short. And he became a part of that Cali life, you know what I'm saying? He was always in the Bay Area. So me and my brother were 14 years apart. So I always looked up to him. I always thought, like he living that life, blah, 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 this is that. I wanted, whatever. And my brother was a pharmacist. Y'all know what that means. So, he was out there living that life. And so I always thought, that was a glamorous lifestyle, whatever the case may be. So when we first got to Las Vegas, Nevada, I can't remember what streets they were, but we stayed by the MGM Grand. So I was like a block or so away from where Tupac got killed. And it was all new to me. Everything was just wonderful. It was a lot of different people. It's a really fast-paced lifestyle. And at 14, you looking at that like, okay, this is wonderful. Coming from St. Louis, Missouri, I thought that we had made it. I thought we was rich. I thought that we were doing the dang on thing. But different things occurred between my mother and brother that caused us to have to leave Las Vegas. He didn't want us there anymore. So because he didn't want us there anymore, we had to move with his wife at the time. God rest her soul. She just passed away in October. And it was just weird because we didn't really know her. Good morning, Kenise. I see you, girl. Hey. I didn't really know her. She had children. We didn't know each other at the time, but my brother, his wishes was for us to leave Las Vegas because it wasn't working out. My mother, she was always meeting people, and living out west is a lot more dangerous than what you would think, as opposed to St. Louis, Missouri. So we just couldn't be there anymore. And when we went to Sacramento, everything was good for about, I'll say it was like a month or so. Everything was cool for a month or so. And then my mother and my sister-in-law were clashing. You can't have two grown women in the same house trying to run stuff. Or, you owe me this much money. And it was a bunch of stuff that happened. That just was unfortunate because I feel like, and my mother and my sister-in-law and my brother, they're all passed away now, but I feel like they would have gotten along had they been able to get over that hump. So when they ended up getting into it, my mother left, but I kept living with my sister-in-law and her children. And my brother was still in Las Vegas, and things just kind of took a turn for the worse because my mama was mad. She wanted her mail. She couldn't get her mail, and she basically broke into the mailbox. And my mother, God rest her soul, but it was a lot of things that she did that was not right. And she just basically was like, you gonna look out. Wow. It's okay, girl. I have so much peace. She was like, you gonna help me get my mail out of this mailbox because such and such sent me some money from St. Louis and you gonna help me. And so as a child, you're thinking like, I have to do what my mother say, even though what my mother is telling me to do is wrong. And so I did. And so from that, I ended up getting put out of her house because somebody seen my mother breaking into the mailbox, and I was like an accomplice, if you will, and I had to go. So when I got back to the house, she was like, you were no longer allowed in my room, blah, blah, blah. It was just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm not even mad at her for that because she was doing the best thing that she could do at the time to protect her household and what she had going on or whatever. So anyway, when I ended up moving with or going with my mother, my mother was basically living in a part of Sacramento. It was called West Sacramento, and it's not a really good area to live in. It's not a really good area to be, because that's where all the homeless people are. That's where all the homeless people reside. Hey, Cicely, and I called you, girl. We're gonna have to talk for real. But yeah, so I ended up, like, when we moved to Sacramento, I ended up going to high school. I entered into ninth grade. It was so different. I had a lot of social anxiety. It was a culture shock because I was around a lot of different ethnicities. I was around a lot of different people my age. And the people I was 14. So the people my age at that time, they was all grown. They was all smoking, drinking, having sex. They was, nobody played with Barbies. I still like Barbies and Leonardo DiCaprio. But they didn't, they wasn't on that. They was trying to go do whatever they was trying to do. It was a really, really, really fast-paced environment, and it was a culture shock for me. So, with that, because I was homeless at this time and I had to move to West Sacramento, my mother ended up having her boyfriend come down to California. Hi, Natasha. She ended up having her boyfriend come down to California, and I don't know why she did that, because this guy, and I ain't trying to throw shade on nobody, but he was not an established man. He was, what do they call it? He would be the guys outside, like panhandling. This was her boyfriend for 7 years. And that just goes to show you the mentality that women can have. And, yes, it was crazy. My mother, I don't know if it was low self-esteem, but my mother was an established woman. She had already overcome trying to commit suicide. They said she would never walk again. She ended up getting her license in cosmetology, esthetician, and massage therapy. So for her to be connected to this man, I don't know why she wanted to stay with him. I don't know why. But he came out there, and we were all homeless in California during that time. And so it was really bad because it was the winter time, and a lot of people don't think that it gets cold in California, but it does, depending on what part you are in. So I had to catch 4 buses from West Sacramento all the way back to the centrally located area of Sacramento to go to high school. And I had to get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, dead to the world. And we would be staying in hotels. There were times where we stayed in, it's a place called Del Taco. I don't think there's a Del Taco in Cincinnati, Ohio, but the Del Taco that we went to, we used to, like, whatever change we would come up on, like, we were panhandlers. We all had to ask for change because there was no choice. And I didn't understand, why we were in this situation. But anyway, we would ask for change, and the Del Taco that we would go to buy our little tacos, they felt sorry for us. So they let us stay. They would let us come in overnight because it was a 24-hour taco joint. So they would let us come in and sleep overnight. And you have to imagine there's really no rest because the lights are on. They had their music on or whatever, it was a restaurant. And they would let a lot of the local homeless people just come in and just sit at the table and lay their head. And that's what we would do. And then the guy that my mother was with, he was just like, you mean to tell me you have all these gifts and talents and you can't get us out of this situation? And I was, at 14, I'm like, bruh, you are a man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know much about life. I didn't know much about relationships or men or any, I didn't know about household roles. But as a 14-year-old, I was looking at this like, okay, you are the man of this situation. What do you mean she doesn't have gifts and talents and this and that? And why can't she help get us out of this situation? You came all the way down to California to be homeless with us. You were no help. So it was a very traumatizing situation. I was constantly trying to find ways to, as a 14-year-old, like, what can I do? How can I fix this situation? It wasn't my situation to fix. For a long time, you guys have to understand, I felt like this was my fault. I felt like it was my fault because of the situation that happened with the mailbox. I felt like if I had never, or if mama could just get along with, but sometimes you got to go through some stuff that's real ugly that you might not even understand in order to help build your character. Like I said before, your pain is a gift. Pain and hard circumstances help to build your character. So at 14, I didn't understand why I was in this situation. I hated it. I blamed people. I thought it was my fault on top of blaming people. And now today, I can look back and say, you know, it was a reason why I had to go through that. And then, so when thank you so much. It took me so long to speak. Y'all just don't know. It took me a long time to really speak and get all this stuff out, but I'm not gonna cry yet. So when we did have enough money to get a hotel, it was flea bag motels after motel after motel. And even in that, I had enough common sense to try to find a silver lining. I was trying to go to school every day. Some days I didn't make it because we didn't have enough money for me to get on the bus. The bus fare is different in each city, but as you can imagine, in California, everything is high. Taxes is high. Bus fare is high. Gas is high. Cigarettes is high. You know what I'm saying? So all of that stuff happened, and one day I was like really late because we finally hustled up enough change for me to get on the bus to go to school. And my high school was like a college campus when I was living in Sacramento. The name of the school was Natomas High. It was right down the street from the old apartment. So I still had time to go back and connect with the friends that I made in the city. So I was cool, even though I wasn't good at all. You know what I'm saying? And one day I made it to school late. I finally got there, and the gym teacher was just so mad. He was like, "What are you doing with your life? You're late to school every day. You don't show up. You don't do this. You don't do that." And at the time, I felt like if I tell that I don't have a place to live, they're going to take me away from my mother. I was embarrassed to even talk about it. I didn't want to get my mother in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And kids do those things. Kids will be like, well, I don't want to get my mom in trouble, so I'm going to do everything to protect her. No child should have to deal with that. No child should have to have a responsibility of feeling like I don't want to get my mother in trouble. If you're a parent and you're doing something wrong, you need to own up to that stuff and stop trying to hide it. So, whatever. When he said that to me, I didn't even tell him, you know, I'm homeless. You don't know what I'm going through. He wasn't. And that's another thing. As an adult in that profession that he was in, he should have came to me and said, "What's wrong? Hey, Natalie." He should have came to me and said, "What's wrong? Why are you missing school? How can I help?" That's what a teacher would do. But what he did was say, "What are you doing with your life? You're not coming to school every day, whatever. You know, he said that to me. So I will say this to any teacher or any person that's in the education profession. If it's a child that has those type of patterns, they miss in school, they not making it every day, you need to find out what's going on. You need to investigate. They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the village is real faulty these days, and we have to rise up. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know if my cousin even know that I'm live, but she just called me. I'm gonna call you back, Tariana. I'm gonna have to call you back, baby. Or you could just hop on this live and interact with me real quick. Okay, so anyway, so when he said all of that stuff, talking about what am I doing with my life, this and that, it was a shutdown mode. I can't really. Hi, okay, you here, Tariana? I can't even tell y'all like what was to come after that because I don't remember. Because a lot of that point in my life, I blacked out just a lot of stuff. It's amazing that I can remember these things. But so we had to. There were times when we had to sleep in. We would go. So because if we couldn't afford a hotel, we would go sleep in the storage because we had to put all of our stuff in storage since we got put out of where we were staying. And for those of y'all just coming in, I'm just giving my testimony about me being homeless in California at 14 and how I survived that. So we were sleep. It was so cold. I can't tell y'all. I'm like, this is supposed to be California. Ain't nothing cold or good about this. Ain't nothing nice about this. But so anyway, we slept in the storage. And so we had been coming to that storage frequently to the point where the owners of the storage came and busted us sleeping in the storage. And at that point, I just cried because I'm just like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we going to get out of this situation? We were still panhandling and getting money from people. We would stand out in front of, it was a place called Riley's. I think it was like it was kind of like a low budget, I don't know, Big Lots. It was kind of like that story, or kind of like that store. And we would stand out there and be like, do you have this? Or do you have $1? You know, and I will just say my mother was very creative in finding ways to get money for us. But it wasn't gonna last. It wasn't gonna last. And there was a time where these people, they seen us, you know, panhandling and begging for money. And that it was a lady, she was like, you want some donuts? You want some orange juice? And I was crying and I was like, yeah, because we didn't have any food either. But they never came back. We waited for hours. We waited for hours for them. And as a woman, I feel like my mother should have just been like, okay, this is not working here. I need to rethink what I'm doing. I feel like my mother might not have learned this or grasped this, but what I learned from that situation is do not get caught up in the illusion of something, and don't just jump out there like, okay, I'm about to do this. You need to vet whatever you're doing. Today is a fast-paced day that we live in. And so back then, she should have did her research, or she should have had a plan. There was no plan. It was like, oh, we just going to move to California. Your brother's going to take care of us. You know what I'm saying? And God rest my brother's soul. He took care of those the kids that he had. You know, he did what he could. But nothing was going to last on the ill-gotten gains that he was getting. You know what I'm saying? And his lifestyle was proof of that. And then him passing was proof of that. He didn't get shot down. This wasn't no paid in full story or nothing like that. But he had a heart attack. So because of the lifestyle, the people he was around, whatever he was doing, because I don't even know all of what he was doing, he passed away at 33 years old. So my mother, I feel like my mother should have kind of, if we were going to move, she should have said, okay, I got my license. I'm about to get my license renewed in Nevada. I'm about to get my license renewed in the state of California. And I'm about to make sense. But that didn't happen. So I really, that's one of the things that I've always thought about. Like, what was her mindset and what made her think this or that to the point where she felt that it was just going to be good. We going, no plan, no nothing. So, a few points with this situation. I smoked cigarettes. That was my first time smoking cigarettes when I was 14 years old. So I was exposed to a lot of things. I seen a lot of things. It was very dangerous in West Sacramento. It was a lot of prostitutes. It was just a lot of stuff going on. Mind you, I was catching the bus, 3 to 4 buses They had the light rail out there. I think it's still called that, but that's kind of like our Metrolink in St. Louis, Missouri. But I had to catch these buses and be on the bus with these people. People would be drunk. People would be bumping into me. And I was really scared. And at that point, I was traumatized because I was going through a situation that it was just really, really sad. So I was just like, okay, I have to put a game face on. I have to be hard. But it was scary. 24/7, it was scary. You never knew what was going to happen. You never knew. And this guy, me and my mom used to laugh about this, and we could laugh about it because we weren't in that situation anymore. But this guy, he was like an old man. And when we would go into the Del Taco and sleep through the night or whatever, they would let us come in there. This guy just started busting out crying because the Temptations came on. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, you could just imagine my mindset. I was just like, what in the world? Like, and y'all know me, I love the Temptations. I know that movie, front to back, side to side, all that. So when they were playing the song, like the song was on the radio in Del Taco, I just started doing the little steps, and he started busting out crying, y'all. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? So it was a lot of situations that was like hitting me and was traumatizing me. I didn't know how to handle it. So fast forward to hi, Karan. Hey, that's a friend from middle school, y'all. Fast forward to all of this stuff that happened in West Sacramento. My mother and the guy, they ended up breaking up, and she ended up getting involved with some guy named Corky. He was crazy. He was like she had me come over there because I ended up having to move back with my sister-in-law. Because my brother had came down for Christmas and he seen us homeless. He was like, why are you out here? He ain't even talked to my mama boyfriend because he was like, I disregard that nigga. Excuse my French, but he was like, I disregard him. He ain't no man. He got y'all out here, da 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 da. And I mean, I feel like all adults in that situation could have handled that situation a little bit better, to be honest. So he talked to my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law let me come back and live there. I was living at another friend's house at one point in time, and she was a thief. She was stealing it was crazy, y'all. It was so crazy. So when I ended up moving back with my sister-in-law, I still visited my mother. She was living with the guy, Corky, and this dude, he was just crazy. I only went over there like one time, and he was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to make a pizza for y'all. And my mother, like, he just started smashing her hand into the pizza. It was just so much, y'all. It was just so much. So, we had to leave that guy's house, and it was like 3:00 in the morning. So I had to walk her. I just had to walk her somewhere. And then the cops ended up coming. I don't know what it was, but I think it was God. The cops ended up coming and they extradited her. They took her. I don't know what the charges were. She had some charges in St. Louis. I don't know what it was for. But they ended up extraditing her all the way back to St. Louis, Missouri. So that was the end of me having to deal with that situation and seeing her on the streets. Like, I don't know what she was going through or what her mental state was, but it was not enough for her to make a decision to be like, okay, this is what I need to do to build something for me and my child while we're here. So she ended up getting extradited back to St. Louis. And so from that situation, I ended up coming back to St. Louis, but it was a little while later. Things just weren't working out because I ended up going back to Vegas. We all ended up moving back to Vegas, except my mother. And my mother was very upset because me and my brother had said she probably needed to be locked up because she kept doing different things. She was very lost. She dealt with addiction issues, probably low self-esteem. She connected with a lot of toxic people and created toxic situations that just combusted, eventually. So what I got from that situation was me just, like, I've never felt safe. To this day, I have never felt safe. And I don't know if it's because of the trauma that I've suffered, sleeping outside, sleeping in different places, sleeping in cars. I don't know what it is, but because of that situation, I've never felt safe. I have a tremendous amount of post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't like people coming up too close behind me. You better clap twice. You know what I'm talking about? Don't get too loud in my face. Like, I have a lot of different mental issues stemming from me being homeless during that time. I had to be a survivor. I had to fight. I had to put on a game face, and I had to try to take care of my mama, take care of her mentally. You know what I mean? There was no way for me to get money. I couldn't get a job. Like, how could I wasn't even in the mindset to get a job. But I tell you what, when I got back to St. Louis, that's when I started working. That's when it was like a light switch. Like, I don't never want to be in this situation. I don't ever want to be homeless. I don't ever want to be without. I don't ever want to be broke. None of that type of stuff because of that. So I think that situation really helped to build and strengthen me up and give me enough to give to my kids. Cause that's eventually that's what it's about. The next generation, right? You know what I'm saying? So, I just thank God. And I'll tell you how I survived it. Because of him. It wasn't nothing that I did. Yes, my granny, she sent the ticket when things got rough, and I was back in Vegas. She sent the ticket or she had her boss send a ticket. Terriana, you remember? She had her boss send a ticket to have me go back to St. Louis, Missouri. So, but that was all God. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't have been able to weather that storm. I wouldn't have been able to sleep in that storage on top of our shoes and all of our clothes. We had I don't know how we got all this stuff to California. Don't ask me. You know what I'm saying? My mama was a collector of things, and so am I. As you can see, I got a big old shelf back there with too many DVDs. Who even watches DVDs? Okay, but yeah, my mother, like, God rest her soul, but that just wasn't the right move for us to be making at that time. That just wasn't the right thing for us to do, for us to move out there. And if we were going to move out there, there should have been a plan in place. But there wasn't. So, hey, Shelby. Hey. I'm trying to think, because it's a lot of points I got. I'm trying to hit y'all. What else? Y'all tell me what y'all think. Now, if anybody was able to go be homeless during this day and time, you know what I'm saying? That's why when I drive past these people, some of those people I can tell. God has given me discernment. I can tell when it's an act, and I know when it's not an act. Do you know some people quit on life and choose homelessness because they don't want to fight anymore? This life is about a fight. This life is not for the faint of heart. So if you about to think you about to grow, all these young people, you think you about to grow up and just have a fabulous life, you know, that's A for effort. Great. You want to be positive. That's cool. But guess what? You're going to get some bumps and bruises along the way. It's not just going to be cookies and cream. So if you can't survive, like, it's all about survival. Think about it. Where are we going to be in 10 years? Where are we going to be in 5 years? What's going to happen? Do you know? And I'm my claim to fame, I love call center jobs. I feel like I can connect with people in that arena doing customer service. Them jobs going to be gone. Those jobs are going to be gone. Do you know all of these AI and all them robots and all that? They're going to take over our jobs. Then what are we going to do next? Then what we got left? What are we going to do? That's why we should start trying to dig deep to find out what our passion is so we can be an entrepreneur. We can touch lives. Those are the things that we need to be doing. And I just thank God for the situation that I've been through of being homeless, because I get to minister to other people. I get to share my story. I get to say, yes, I was homeless. I had to beg. I cried. But guess what? I overcame that as well. I overcame that. So I just want you guys to be encouraged. Like, don't give up. I done been through so many different things. I've been like, do you see? I got bags under my eyes from no sleep and tears. And sometimes your tears is all you have to sow. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sowing and reaping. Do y'all know what that means? So sometimes your tears is all you're going to have to sow to make you grow, to water that plant. We got seeds inside of us, and the type of seeds that we sow matter. And I just wanted to share with y'all. I'm trying to think of if it's anything else I can think of. I'm not going to say it was all terribly bad in California. It was an experience, that I survived. I met some friends, some that I'm still friends with to this day. But y'all let me know. Go off in the comments and please share this video because it's a teenager right now who is homeless and they scared to talk because these adults, all of these adults that don't understand and they're overbearing and they trying to blame you. Like, I mean, I can't even describe how small I felt when that teacher was like, what are you doing with your life? Why aren't you here on time every day? Why aren't you coming to school? These kids are hurting. These kids are going through so many different things. And that is why I'm here to open up my mouth and speak and talk. And I'm finding the more that I'm opening up my mouth to speak and talk, the better I feel. We got to get this stuff out. We have to get this stuff out. Like I said in my last video, we born and then we die. What are you going to do between that time? How much time do you have? How much time do we got left? We don't know. So that's why every day we need to be waking up with a purpose, trying to touch lives, trying to get better, trying to do better. And I ain't perfect. I got many and plenty of problems. But guess what? I'm trying to make my mark before I leave this earth. And it's okay to go out. Some people drink, some people smoke, and, some people do different things. Some people shop a lot. Some people are hoarders. Everybody has different problems. But how are you trying to better that? Are you trying to progress? What do you want to be known for? How you going to touch somebody else's life? By going off on them and calling them a bitch? Hey bitch? I don't like that. I don't know nobody. Don't call me a bitch because I don't like that. But is that what we 30 and 40 and 50 years old talking about, what's up, bitch? What you doing? That's dumb. Come on, y'all. We got to stop. We just got to stop. It's a lot of stuff it's time out for because guess what? In 10 years, the kid's going to be grown. It's going to be rough out there. If we think it was rough for us, think about what it's going to be like for these kids. They facing so many things. The transgender stuff. Did y'all see the little Uzi Vert video? Did y'all see that? This what the baby's looking at when we at school, when we at work. That's what that's what they have to consume. So it's time now for us to lace our bootstraps up and change so that we can change for our children, so that the kids can be better. The kids can do better because it's all about legacy. How do you think your grandkids going to turn out? 20 years from now, what are your grandkids going to be doing? What choices did you make and what sacrifices did you make to affect your grandkids 20 years from now? What choices did you make? And at what cost did you make those choices? We got to be thinking, y'all. But I'm gonna have to get off here because I got to go to work. I love y'all. Go off in the comments. Please share this video. Please like, share, comment. I have a YouTube page. It's under Carmela Breed Love. I also have my business YouTube page, FP2P314. I know y'all see my little art in the back. If y'all want to purchase some of that, do that. Whatever. But at the end of the day, y'all, we got to wake up and we got to rise up. Because tomorrow ain't promised. Tomorrow is not promised. And guess what? 30 years from now, and that's why I'm talking to my kids right now. 30 years from now, I don't want my son to be saying, I don't even want to call my mama, because that's how I felt. Do you understand what I'm saying? But we have to be able to make a difference in these kids' lives. We got to. We got to. Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we doing? Getting up, going to work, to come back home, to drink your drink or smoke your smoke. That's all you got? Yep, I get up and go to work. Come back home, spend a little time with my kids. Like, that's it? What you doing with your time with the kids? Are we all on devices? And I'm guilty, because this is a technology household. We got over 20, 30 devices. Some of them things don't even work. But when we sit at that dinner table, is we supposed to be everybody got their device? Come on, let's look me in my eye, talk to me. It's so much deeper than what we think, because you never know when your life is going to end. So you need to do everything you can right now. Everything you can right now. I love you, cuz. Hey, I see somebody in here. Hey, Nikki. Hey, Dewan. I'ma wave at y'all. You never know when it's gonna end. Do you know when my mama passed away, when she gave me her keys, the last time I seen her, she gave me her keys and she was like, here, just in case something happened. And when we was arguing when I last seen her, and when I left her, I was like, it's over, because I was tired. You damn right I was a tired child, because I felt like I had to take care of my mother and be my mother's mother and show her the way. But you got to watch what you say, because when I said it's over, I didn't know that was the last time I was going to see my mother in life. So how much time do we have? And what you doing with your time? I love y'all. Thank you so much for listening. I got a lot more videos coming. I've been waiting to speak for a while, and I finally feel like I have enough strength to speak and get my testimony out, because I don't know when my time coming. I don't. But I know before I leave this earth, before my head is cold, I want to build generational wealth for them kids, because that's what it's all about. I want to make sure that I touch lives. I want to make sure that I give back in whatever way that is. Hi, Chazelle. Girl, you be joining me on my lives and stuff, girl. We got to wake up, y'all. We got to. Otherwise, what's the point? We supposed to live life. Genuinely, unapologetically, being ourselves, bettering ourselves. What are we doing? That's the question. Today, ask yourself, whose life am I touching? And how am I positively affecting the next person? How am I positively affecting my kids? That's the question we ask ourselves today, all right? I love y'all. I gotta go.